everybody, it's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm looking forward to guiding you through today's lymphatic draining focus yin yoga practice. So lymphatic draining happens both while we're doing some inversions, and also lymph is moved from contracting the muscles, whereas blood is just pumped from our hearts beating. So just helping to encourage some flow and breakdown of all of the energy and stuff in our body, especially because I know a lot of people right now are still getting vaccinated, if that's your jam. Just continuing to create open spaces in the body, so hopefully you recover as quickly as possible, and in general you just feel your best. I really recommend having as many props as possible for today's class. So does Uncle Buck. So I have 2 blocks, a strap, I have my meditation cushions nearby. I even happen to have a foam roller. If you don't have any blocks but you have a foam roller, just gather what you got around. We're gonna start off laying down on our backs with some support at the shoulder area. So in a mix of a supported fish pose, but with some bound angle legs. We got 3 minutes till we get started, so take this time to just do what feels right for you. And in 2 minutes, I will make my way into the posture so y'all can see how I recommend getting started today. And I'm so glad that you came. Thanks, everybody. Relax, Uncle Buck. Relax. All right, we have 1 minute till we officially get started. Thank you again for coming. I know, I tried not to bribe the bird with peanuts today. That was wrong of me. Plenty of peanuts so you can just relax, okay? Everyone just relax. All right, I'm gonna take my time, make my way into this supported fish pose with bound angle. So remember, bound angle, also sometimes called butterfly, cobbler, just working to bring the soles of your feet together, and it's your body, it's your practice, so you decide how close to the center line of the body you have them, or how far away. And if your knees are going to be raised really far up off the floor in your bound angle, think about using some props, either blocks or books or cushions or pillows to lift yourself up. And then you might need something like a foam roller that you'll be able to place on your back. I'm going to go ahead and take one of these blocks and place it down on the mat so that I can release the shoulder blade area so that the heart is lifted. So take your time as you come into this posture. You might even find that you want another block behind your head. so you can relax your head. It's going to apply some pressure to the upper back. But remember, you can walk your feet away as much as you need to. We're going to hang out here in this opening posture for about 3 minutes. So hi everybody, welcome. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and we're getting right into it today for our Yin Yoga practice. Thank you for coming. If you find that this bound angle is too much for you still, too much stimulation of the hips, you can always go ahead and just straighten your legs because it's your practice. And I want you to come into as much stillness as you can here. So if you find you're continuing to fidget, maybe you lower yourself a little closer to the floor with the support that you have between your shoulders, with your heart lifting. Remember, if your eyes are moving, that your mind is moving. So either finding one spot on the ceiling to focus your eyes, relax your mind, and truly begin to relax your breath. Work to breathe all the way down to the very bottom of your belly. Make sure you're not just breathing at the top of your chest. Let your breath be your guide for today's postures. So number 1, find your deep breath. And number 2, find a stretch or a movement that's noticeable. Because we do want to be making a bit of a difference. So you want to feel something and know that sometimes these stretches and feelings might not be comfortable. And it's all about finding our breath and finding our stillness within these uncomfortable moments. Because uncomfortable moments come up in life a lot. So now's a beautiful time to just work on finding that inner calm within yourself, relaxing your face, relaxing your expressions, and noticing how using your breath and just being present, dealing with it one inhale at a time, instead of thinking 3 minutes, makes it a lot easier. If you still find during your breath that you're continuing to come back to the need to fidget or to other things that are happening in your day, consider counting your breath, the length of your inhale and the length of your exhale. What does it take for you to stay in this moment? Just a couple more breaths right here. On your next exhale, take a little wiggle of your fingers and toes. You can start to ground your feet to the floor, send your knees up towards the ceiling. Carefully roll off of the prop that you have underneath of you. Carefully move with that intention. And then take your time, press yourself up to a seated position. Seated position of your choice. I'm going to come into Sukhasana. If you would prefer to come into kneeling, maybe even joining me here in perfect pose. Remember, if those knees don't slope naturally down towards the floor, sitting yourself up on a block or a folded towel or a cushion, just anything. Finding a little extra lift can help your knees relax down and you can open your hips. All right, continue with these slow breaths. Next, we're gonna go for a neck stretch. So interlace your amazing fingers all the way up to the webbing, and then we're gonna bring those fingers gently to the back of the head. You can start with those elbows open wide, maybe even give yourself a nice little massage under the ears, down through the neck and jawline. And then make sure you're not applying too much pressure on the back of your head, just something a little noticeable as you tuck your chin towards your chest. And find a nice stretch along the back of your neck. So think of your hands as being a supportive hammock, not a lot of pressure. And open those elbows as wide to the side as you can. Press your sit bones down to the floor. work to start with a little length in your spine. Just 2 more breaths right here. And on that next exhale, take your time, bring your hands to your shoulders, fingers come to your shoulders, and lift that chin up to neutral. Notice if you're hinging forward, I know I was. So ground those sit bones, work to stack your shoulders a little more over your hips, unless you were there, in which case good for you. Next up, we're gonna go for some shoulder circles, 1 minute in each direction. So this time you can bring some rounding to your back as you bring your elbows forward to kiss. Inhale as you stretch up, back, exhale, down, and forward again. Let's do 4 more times in this direction. Really nice and slow, just starting to warm up that back. Make sure those sit bones stay down though. So as you might be stretching forward, you're not stretching forward so much that you're rolling on towards your knees. Last time in this direction. Next time our elbows come up to the sky, we're just gonna change direction of our circles. Yay! So belly gently pulled in to support ourselves on this forward hinge, even from a seated position. Big long, slow breaths once again. Your breath is dictating the movement. Last 2 times. Lift those elbows up. Keep your chest lifted as you relax your hands down into your lap. Palms facing up towards the ceiling. Take a slight knit of your rib cage together. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Once again, just ground your sit bones with the floor. Back to your breath. Feel free to close your eyes. All right, think about why you came to class today. Is there something that you can tell yourself? What is a positive intention that can make you feel good? Maybe during the next minute you just repeat to yourself that you are enough. Maybe you remind yourself that you're strong and capable and just an amazing person. Whatever it is, I want you to think of a positive affirmation. We're going to do a little bit of tapping of our chests. So you can take either your ring and pointer finger, ring and middle finger. If your pointer finger comes along for the party, we're just going to tap at our thalamus, just at the top of our chest. Tapping is a great way to just begin to awaken your energy, and I encourage you to say it out loud as you can. Sound proud and strong. I am enough. I love myself just the way I am. I am worthy of all of the good things. I am proud of myself for making this time for myself today because I'm worth it. I'm amazing. I want to hear you all the way from here. Let's hear one more amazing affirmation. That was beautiful. All right, take a moment, relax your hand back down on top of your thigh. Take a gentle squeeze of your shoulder blades together. Maybe your elbows even draw back. Shoulders are pulled down away from the ear as much as possible. You've got a beautiful length of the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. And every inhale, you're bringing a little extra space between each of your vertebrae. Yay. Next up, we're going to go for a toe stretch. And we're going to invite in a little armpit stimulation. So take your time. Let's come onto our knees for a little big toe stretch. So starting off in tabletop, you're going to tuck your toes under. You might even want to draw your knee up a little bit and then push back through your heel to get as much of that amazing toe meat to the floor. And then take your time. We're going to sit ourselves up. We're going to give ourselves a little massage under our armpits. So take one hand and place it under your armpits, and if this is too much on your toes, you can always bring your hand to the floor and still massage the lymph within your armpits. I doubt that you massage your armpits very frequently, But I hope that as you're doing so right now, just applying a little pressure through the knuckles, you just notice that it feels good. It does feel good. Stick with that breath. Maybe you are so tight. Maybe there's so much going on that this feels a little uncomfortable, and that's normal too. There's a lot of times in yin yoga where you might find yourself feeling a little uncomfortable within the moment, within the stretch, within the feelings that are created. So just continue to breathe with it. Do your best. Take 2 more breaths here on this side. And after that second breath, we're going to switch hands. So coming into that nice massage of the armpit on the other side. Work to find that relaxation through the shoulders again. So we're creating that stillness in the stretch that's happening in our toes, but we're creating a little bit of movement of the lymph in our upper body. Just keep breathing. Inhaling in the awareness of whatever sensation, whatever challenge you're feeling, and exhale to let it go. Create more space, create more light and love. Last 2 breaths here. If you're in a kneeling position, take your time, bring your hands back to the floor, untuck your toes, and just tap those feet out. And then come into some cat-cow. Whatever feels right for you in cat-cow. Maybe a little shake through your shoulders, a shake through the hips. Maybe just a traditional cat-cow. Finding the range of motion that feels right for your body today. So maybe you're keeping things kind of small. And maybe you're making some really big moves. All right, good job just shaking it out a little bit. Next up, coming back to our stillness, we're going to take an extended child's pose where I want you to reach your hands behind you so we can open those shoulders just a little bit more. If you have a prop that you can bring to place under your head so that you don't have too much lymphatic draining from leaning forward here, I highly recommend it. I think it feels really good. And then if it works for you, reaching those hands behind you. If that's too much on your shoulders, you can always keep your arms and elbows bent, hands close by your side. But come into your stillness right here. Bring your breath to the back side of the body. Use those big inhales to allow your rib cage to expand, and on your exhales, notice if you can feel it at all, just a little more separation between those shoulders. So it's really normal in a yin class to feel some shakes and trembles. So it's totally okay if you're trying to be still and you notice your fingers are twitching, or maybe there's like a little buzz, buzz, buzz in your shoulder or in your feet or even in your head. That's just the feeling of creating some of the awakenings and openings that we're looking for, the new connections that are firing off. And if you have your forehead on a block right now, you're getting a little extra stimulation to your third eye, to your drishti, your focus. Bring as much relaxation to the lower half of your body, to your delightfully open back as possible. Let's take 3 more super slow breaths right here. Once you finish that 3rd breath, bring your hands back forward. We're gently going to lift our heads off of our props, but you might want to keep your prop nearby because next step we're going to press up into down dog. So bring your hands forward. Go ahead, tuck your toes under. Send your hips up towards the ceiling and feel free to keep as generous of a bend on your knees as feels good for you. And if you want, you can even bring your head back to the block. So working to bring those biceps closer towards your ears and your belly towards your thigh. I know this one's really challenging on the shoulders. We have 1 minute left. You're amazing. I know this might be uncomfortable, but you've got it. Stick with your breath. Come back to all those amazing things you just said to yourself. You're worth it. You love yourself just as you are right now. You can do this. If, however, you do feel any sharp pains, then please, by all means, I encourage you to change your position, find something that works for you. But otherwise, hang out in this uncomfortable moment for 2 slow breaths. And if you want to pedal through your heels for a sec or press onto the balls of your feet or maybe take a generous bend of your knees, we're going to walk our feet up and open them really wide. So feet wider than shoulder width distance apart. If the floor feels really far away from you still, use those props on the floor. Once again, if you have something you even want to relax your head gently upon, next up we're going to enjoy this wide-legged forward fold. It is probably easier to bring your weight a little forward in a much more modified down dog than it is to have your hands really close to your feet and stretching your hips back. I promise you'll still get a great stretch through your hamstrings. Can you bring a little bit more weight towards your toes? Find some relaxation in your face, in your head, in your lower back. Remember that every day is different and every day our bodies are different, and how we feel in the morning can be completely different from how we feel in the afternoon. In the mornings when our bodies are really tight, it's a great time to really challenge ourselves with the flexibility practice. In the afternoons, when we're feeling a little bit more warmed up, it can be a lot easier to be flexible. So for super flexible people, that's a great time to work on the strength practice when you're starting to feel a little tired. So I encourage you to, come back, check this class out at a different day, a different time of the day, and see how your body feels. Just about 3 or 4 more breaths in this wide-legged forward fold. And then we're gonna bring our legs together and come into a dangle. If for any reason you no longer can stand having your head below heart's level, instead of coming into this dangle, you're welcome to take your time and bring yourself down to the floor, extend your legs out in front of you, find a forward hinge and come into a staff pose. So you can either enjoy a seated forward fold, or you're going to heel toe your feet in closer together. Maybe your feet even touch each other. Maybe they're still hips width distance apart. You can take a generous bend of your knees. As you dangle down towards the floor, feel free to use your props. You can relax your hands or your arms on a prop as you need to. Bring in a little bit more stretch, specifically towards the back of the legs. Find that stillness in that upper body. And notice if you brought any tension into your shoulders. Can you use your exhale? Relax them away from your ears. Maybe your head even comes a little closer to the floor. Continue to stay light and open in that upper back. I know you're starting to even hear all of the draining happening into my head. This is going to be our last standing inverted posture. Still continue to bring those big breaths to the back side of the body while we focus on this forward fold. Relax, relax, relax. One more big inhale. And on your exhale, if you're standing, you're going to bring your hands to the floor. Heel toe your feet out once again and come into a squat. Feel free to use your prop so you don't have to stay active in this squat here unless you want to, especially if you have trouble getting both of your feet to the floor. Remember, you can always take a block. You might even be able to sit a little bit lower. If you release yourself down on the prop, you can use your elbows to press those inner thighs open a little more. Relax your shoulders from your ears. And we're going to get down on the floor after this one, y'all. I promise. You have just over a minute left, especially if you are down on the floor, seated on a block. Just take notice of how you're applying pressure through your feet. Can you ground through your heels, the ball of your foot, and the ball under your pinky toe as well? And it's okay if you can't get those all the way down to the floor. Helps if you do have a 45-degree angle out with your feet. Just about 4 breaths left right here. Oh, if you were on the floor, I'm sorry, I forgot to say that you can either be in stump similar to us or come back into that bound angle, hopefully with your feet a little bit closer into the center line of your body. Pardon me, y'all, for forgetting to mention that. One more big inhale. On your exhale, take your time. We're going to come back down to the floor. I like to bring my hands in front of me and then one knee at a time. I'm going to bring my legs over to one side of the mat so I can release my glutes down. Send the legs in front of us and prepare to lay down on your back. So you might want to have some space behind you because next up we're going to go for a shoulder stand. And I want to talk you through this shoulder stand. And if you heard shoulder stand and you were like, not me, girl, that's fine. If you don't want to do shoulder stand today, you get to lower yourself down on your back. Maybe you even have a pillow or a towel that you can just place under your lower back to help you gently lift up, and then you can send your legs up towards the ceiling to enjoy that draining. You can even use a prop like your strap around your feet to help you keep those legs up, or if you have a couch or a wall nearby, please feel free to use it for the next 3 minutes. Otherwise, if you'd like to come into shoulder stand, you're going to draw that core in, and you're going to use your bent knees towards your nose. Work to stack your glutes, and you have to squeeze your glutes to lift up. If you find your legs are already coming behind you, you probably don't quite have the core strength, and then I want you to lower yourself down and come right into that same legs up the imaginary wall that we talked about. Otherwise, you do have the option to stay here in a supported shoulder stand with that squeeze of your glutes and those nice straight legs. Keeping that core pulled in nice and tight. Take 3 more breaths in the shoulder stand, and then you have the option to lower yourself down and come into the same legs up against the ceiling to stay here for about 1 more minute, or to come into plow. So from plow, you can lower one or both legs at a time behind you and still keep your hands on your lower back to find some support. Don't turn or twist your head and neck in plow. Work to keep that breath slow. To come out, gently draw those knees in one at a time. Carefully lower yourself back down onto the floor. And next step, we're going to go for knees to chest pose, knees to chest pose. So just drawing those knees in towards your chest, relaxing those shoulders back down towards the mat. If it feels good, you might even want to take a gentle little rock side to side here to massage your lower back. And then once you've gently massaged that out a little bit, come back into your stillness here. All right, so from knees to chest pose, we're gonna go for a deeper twist today. We're gonna go for a revolved abdomen pose. If it's too much for you to do this next posture with straight legs, you just get to come right back to bent knees. Otherwise, we're going to kick our legs out. I'm kicking over to what looks like the right side first and extending both legs nice and straight, but keeping the left shoulder on the floor. So if as you kick those legs out, your shoulder came all the way up off the floor, go ahead, bend your knees and work to bring your shoulder back down to the mat. With legs extended over to the right side, use that right hand. See if you can even reach a little further down your feet, and your left hand can extend out to the side. Big stretch through the abdomen, through the back. If this is too much for you, bend that knee, or maybe just bend the lower leg. Oh, wow. Back to your breath, back to really focusing on getting 2 shoulders down on the floor and just Finding the stretch that works for your body with both of those shoulders down on the floor so you continue to get the stretch through your abs. On your next inhale, take your time. We're going to come back to knees to chest pose. I just realized I don't have a lot of room. And we're going to roll over to the opposite side. So maybe you start with your knees bent. See if you can straighten those legs out while still keeping both shoulders down on the floor. Reach with the hand in the same direction of your legs to help apply a little pressure, to feel a little extra stretch, create some space, shoulders away from your ears. Relax. Relax that upper body into the mat as much as possible. The more that you start to relax the upper body, the more you'll start to feel a stretch through those hips as well. Just going to check and make sure my shirt's amazingly tucked in over here. Take your time carefully on that next inhale. Come back to your back. Bring those knees back to your chest. We're going to go for legs up against the wall. One more time, or for the first time if you joined me in shoulder stand. And if you're feeling kind of tired, think about using your strap to help you get those legs up against the wall. Maybe you even decide that you'd like to have your legs out a little bit wider. Focus more on the stretch on the inner outer thighs as well. Wherever you have your legs open or closed, I want you to make sure you keep that lower back either on your prop or pressed into the floor. Wow, this is like some amazing stimulation through my feet as well by using the strap and creating as much relaxation in that upper body as possible. Back to your stillness. Deep, slow, smooth breath. Remember, there's no need to go any deeper than you are right now. Right where you started is the perfect place to be. Just creating that stillness in your body, your mind, and your soul. Come back to those beautiful thoughts about yourself for 3 more breaths. If you separated your feet, take your time, bring them back together. I think it helps to bring our heels together to touch, and then release your feet with intention carefully down to the floor. Soles of the feet come down to the mat, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. Our last posture before final savasana is going to be a supported bridge pose. So press into the soles of your feet, lift your hips up, and place your prop right at your lower back. So your glutes are gently hanging off just a little bit. And that lower back, that sacrum is supported. Knees right on top of your heels. Starting to get a little stimulation through the belly as well. Nice stretch. One last time. Do whatever feels right with your arms. Maybe you need to have your palms down on the floor for a little more grounding, a little more encouragement of those shoulders pressing into the mat, or maybe palms up towards the ceiling. Just being open to all the awesome energy that is out there. Create as much relaxation in that upper body as possible. Make sure that you have your upper back still pressed down onto the mat. So we're not coming into a shoulder stand here. The shoulder blades are still touching down on the mat, getting a nice little pressure from your block or towel or whatever prop you hopefully had around today at your lower back. Keep coming back to that scan of your body, relaxing your forehead, your eyebrows, your eyes, your nose, your jaw, your tongue. Releasing through the shoulders and chest, just allowing that upper body to be as heavy and supported on the mat as possible. And then bring that same focus into your lower back. A little self-myofascial release right now, pushing down into your prop, which helps to create that extra little stretch and stimulation of the belly. Feet ground to the floor, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. Let's take our last 3 breaths here. Make sure you enjoy all 3. And then on that 4th inhale, press into the soles of the feet, lift your hips up, relax and release your glutes down to the floor. Make your way into your final Savasana. You can open your arms or legs as wide as you want, or maybe find a little support of one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. If you want to come back into that gentle hip opener like we started, you can always bring the soles of your feet together and find yourself in some version of bound angle. Get as much of the back of your head and neck supported by the mat as possible, and if you need to, you can always tense your knees and bring them together to find some relief for your lower back. Just come into your stillness however it feels right for you. We will hang out here together silently, just enjoying the moment and each other's presence for the next 3 minutes. And I'll try not to fall asleep, which happens sometimes during this class. Beautiful stillness, everyone. You're welcome to stay here in this final Savasana for as long as feels right for your body. However, if you'd like to close up class together, let's take our time and make our way to a seated position. When you get here, if you joined me, bring your hands palms to the center of your chest. Touch your thumbs to your sternum. Feel your beautiful heart beating as you tuck your chin to your chest. Just take one more moment to honor yourself, to come back to all the ways that you're amazing. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I said or we did today, I hope you'll reach out. In the meantime, till we meet again, think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds, and take the time to nourish yourself from the inside out. You can bring your thumb up to your third eye, your drishti, ground your sit bones, pull your belly in, lift your chest, open your heart, stretch up to the ceiling. Put a smile on your face and know that the light within me honors, sees, and is so thankful for the light within you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.